All right, so I'm here with my buddy Tyler White. Me and Tyler, we go pretty far back. I met Tyler about 2 years ago. He's a fraternity brother of mine. He's in law school at Ole Miss, and he is the CEO and founder of TeeWhites. So, Tyler, if you do just a quick introduction of yourself and kind of tell the audience what it is you do and what it is that TeeWhites does.
Yeah, so appreciate you having me. As you mentioned, I'm Tyler. I'm 23 years old. I just graduated from undergrad. I'm in my 1L year of law school. And yeah, I'm also an entrepreneur. So I founded TeeWhites, which is a custom promotional item company. We do screen printing, embroidery, promotional items. The main part of the company is really the screen printing side of things. But yeah, we've been doing it for a few years now. It's fun and challenging, doing all that while in law school. But yeah, screen printing, embroidery, promotional items. We do it for companies both locally. We're based in Flora, Mississippi, near Jackson, and then also companies around the globe. So I have a pretty good connection to a lot of companies in the crypto space in Silicon Valley. So we do a lot of, boxes and kits and onboarding swag boxes and that sort of stuff for companies like that.
Yes,
So that's a
sir.
little bit about me and the company. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I know you kind of hinted at it, but tell me a little bit about how you've been able to manage this business while not only being in law school, but you've done it for a while now. So, really, how have you been able to do that? How have you been able to manage those responsibilities?
Yeah. So I'll say first off, as you would imagine, it's been extremely challenging, but it's been a fun challenge and I've really enjoyed it. I think the main thing is have great people under you. That's one of the main things I figured out is, if I can get people who are great workers and I can pay them fair and keep them around and incentivize them to stay, that's the main thing. It's just surrounding myself with good employees and people who can make it work. But yeah, it's been super challenging running it from Oxford with, the company being 2.5 hours away in Florida, just outside of Jackson. Um, a lot of technology, relying on cameras, relying on different organizational boards. We use Trello like crazy because it's unique because not only are we managing, I'm managing this virtually and I'm working with my team who's at the shop in Florida, but I'm also dealing with a lot of different customers. And at any given time, we could have 100 orders going.
Right.
So, and within the 100 orders, you could have 10,000 shirts, 100 shirts, however many, 36 all the way up. So it's a lot to manage, and staying organized and using an organizational board has helped the most. Just
Right.
managing all of those moving pieces and, trying to stay organized. Also Zoom. I mean, I have,
Yeah, here we are.
yeah, here we are. And I had the privilege of working virtually before coming here. And that was really what made me realize, hey, you can do this virtually.
Right.
So I worked at a crypto company. I worked virtually for them. It was a Silicon Valley type job. And I was here in Oxford doing that, also doing this. But really a lot of the things that I learned from a Silicon Valley startup, just about processes, Slack, Trello, Zoom, a lot of that stuff that I implemented immediately into my business. And really, we didn't have any issues. Again, there were challenges, which I can share more about that in a little bit, but
Well, I know
yeah.
you talked about your processes, and it's funny you say that because I've had the privilege to work with you. You've printed our bid day shirts, you printed fraternity shirts for the fraternity and other fraternities on campus, and I know how much you rely on your calendar. So has that kind of been what you would say a key ingredient to your success as a business owner?
100%. Dude, my friends make fun of me. I live by my calendar. The other night, we made reservations at the Ravine, and my friends saw me. I put it in my calendar, 7:30 at the Ravine. They were laughing at me, but I live my life by my calendar. And again, that goes back to that Silicon Valley job I worked where, I mean, we were all in different time zones. So my boss was like, look, if you have a slot open on your calendar, I'm going to assume you can have a meeting there. Um, so I live life by my calendar. If it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. And I have to, I'm
Right.
managing my personal life. I'm managing law school. I'm managing work. For a little while, I was managing several companies, doing that other job. So yeah, the calendar is definitely one of the keys to success for me.
So I'm curious to know, so you started out with a company called Stay Anchored Apparel, and I know that T. White's kind of became a subsidiary of that in the beginning. So what need were you trying to fill for consumers when you started T. White's?
Yeah. So as you said, it all started as Stay Anchored Apparel. Technically, Stay Anchored Apparel is still the parent company of all of it. So we have a DBA, doing business as, and that's TeeWhites. And when I started Stay Anchored Apparel when I was a senior in high school, and it's a faith-based clothing line. It's still around. We're still in a few stores. It's kind of got put on the back burner just a little bit with everything going on. But as I hire more people, I'm starting to get more resources put towards it. I actually have some designs in the works now for a new collection. But all that to say is it was TeeWhites, or it was Stay Anchored Apparel. We were printing t-shirts, and we sold to a lot of people, a lot of my friends. And then those friends started coming to me, and they'd say, "Hey, I know you print t-shirts. I know you have good shirts. Could you do that for me?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? Of course we could print shirts for you. I have the press, I have the equipment." Really, I mean, believe it or not, wasn't my intention in the beginning, but the demand was there. So once the demand was there, it just naturally started happening. It was all Stay Anchored Apparel. And quite quickly, the sales for the printing side of the business way overtook the sales of the traditional B2C apparel that I was selling. So I sat back and I was like, it's kind of confusing. I have a clothing brand with this name, and we're also printing under this name. And some companies do it, but I was like, we really need to differentiate these brands because they're totally different. This is a faith-based clothing line. This is screen printing, embroidery, and promotional items. And I really want to be able to market this. Mm-hmm. So I came up with TeeWhites. My name's Tyler White. TeeWhites, almost like a play on words for t-shirt. And from there, I was really able to market TeeWhites and really hit in on the screen printing, embroidery, promotional items. Because in my town, everyone knew me as the guy who had Stay Anchored Apparel. So when I was advertising Stay Anchored Apparel, they were like, "Oh yeah, I know about your clothing line." And I was like, "No, this isn't a clothing line." So really setting that separate brand really helped to market it and expand and grow.
Right. And I know I saw recently, or it may have been a little bit past recently, but you've actually opened up a shop in Florida, right?
Yeah. So it all started in my youth minister's garage. And that was where my first press was. And then we outgrew that, and I built a shop next to my house, and we outgrew that. And yeah, January 1 of this year, we got a shop in town in Florida. We have a storefront, and it's great. It's crazy. I mean, we have 3 presses in there, which in the grand scheme of things isn't a lot. There's companies with 20, but we started with 1 and now we're at 3. Honestly, we could have 6 right now. I mean, the growth has been crazy. Like, it's been great.
So obviously you've got, how many people do you have working for you?
So we have 5 people.
Okay. So what's really the trick, you think, to being a good manager, especially when you're not in the office, in the building with them all the time?
Yeah. So for me, it is 100% just transparency.
Yeah.
My guys know they can come to me tomorrow and tell me anything, and I will have their back, and I will, it's transparency. And then also letting my people know, hey, you're valued. And like, I care about you more than the person who prints the shirts or the person who does sales. I mean, I know it's kind of cliche, but it really is sort of like a family type thing. And when you establish that level of trust and you have that level of transparency, I've told my guys, look, if you need a raise, if you need whatever the situation may be. And I had a guy come to me not too long ago. He's getting married. He just had a kid. And he was like, "Look, I really need to make a little more." And I was like, "Hey, look, absolutely." And we gave him a raise. And, with that comes boundaries. And with that also has to come, proper decision making. You can't just hand out things left and right. But I think it's that level of trust where they know they can come to me and ask for something, and I can also go to them. We're really busy right now. So we've asked the guys if they could work this weekend. Didn't make them. Said, "Hey, look, if you want to work extra, it's there." They know how busy we are. They care about this company. They care about us. And a couple of them are coming in this weekend to print, again, completely voluntarily.
Yeah.
But they know we need it, and they want to see us succeed, and they want to succeed. And I think making them feel like they're a part of it as well has been a big part.
Man, that's great. And the last thing I want to ask you, just because we're running short on time, I know you're on the verge of many great things. You're about to sit for the bar soon. Where do you see TeeWhites and Stay Anchored Apparel in 5 years from now? Is it something that you're going to keep hanging on to, or what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm definitely pursuing a legal career. I have some good internships and stuff lined up this summer. But my girlfriend just took over TeeWhites, so she's managing everything full time. We've continued to hire more and more. My goal is by the time I graduate law school is I want us to be the biggest screen printing company in the state of Mississippi.
Let's go.
And it's going to be hard. There's a lot of competition. Also, I think the hardest part we're going to have is just scaling, because we just continue to outgrow buildings, which is a great problem to have. We have a 1-year lease on this building now. Like I said, signed it January 1. Already, I mean, we're too big for it.
Right.
So it comes to the point where you want to scale big enough, but you also don't want to scale too big too fast, and it's all of those challenges. So is it realistic that we could do it by the time I graduate law school? Maybe, maybe not, but I'm dumb enough to think we can, or hope we can.
Absolutely, man. And that's what it takes, to really, to be the best, you got to have that mindset that, hey, this is possible. And you just consider, where you started and just doing it yourself in the garage to now employing 5 people from afar and printing bid day shirts and what else? I know you print for John Rice Plumley one time, and I see it on Instagram all the time, the Rebel Ducks Unlimited chapter, all sorts of stuff. So it's awesome to see, man. And I look forward to watching it grow, especially from close, since I'll be in Jackson. So, but I appreciate you talking with us, brother.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for your time.